Good evening, everybody. Welcome to some songs for Sunday. I'm going to start off with one called The Procession, which, to cut a long story short, is about realising you get to a point in life where you know less than you did before. Maybe that joining the Anglican Church even. We were young then, young and we knew the chosen, that's how we were few. We looked behind, we saw the past, we let it lie. There was nothing there that we might need, just prisons from which we'd been freed. Right behind, ahead was just the sky. But from our upper room we could look down on the dark streets of the old town, where on high and holy days the crowds poured in. Beagle played and lanterns flared on the sea of faces in the square as everybody waited to begin. The procession. The procession. The procession. Procession. Well, we were workers then, we knew our trade, to see the whole wide world remade. We were the new broom that would sweep away. But we swept and left an empty space that all too soon became a place. The old familiar demons came to play. So when I heard that marching band, something I did not understand tugged at my sleeve, set my heart beating loud. And I grabbed my coat, run down the stair, stumble out into the street, where I turn up my collar and I mingle with the crowd as they await the procession. The procession. Procession. The procession. Well, here they come, the saints and sinners, users, losers and the winners, young and old, the whole and broken, the strong, the weak, the shy, the outspoken, the cynics, the skeptics, the true believers, honest doubters, false deceivers, the proud and the undignified, flotsam and jetsam on a human tide. And I fall in step, I fall in step, despite myself, I fall in step. Well, the light of day, so bright and cold, can clear the mind but freeze the soul. The air up there is much too rarefied. I need the dark, I need the mystery, can't ignore the hand of history, but heaven knows how long and how hard I tried. For it holds a mirror where I view the path we thought was brave and new, was an old and rutted roadway we'd retraced. I stand unsure of everything, which creed to claim, which song to sing, unsure of everything except my place in the procession. The procession. The procession. The procession. Let's see what's next. Oh yes, right. This one, again about the Church of England, a warning about some people who can be very dangerous. Some years ago I was riding my motorbike in East Yorkshire. I won't say exactly where. I went into an old church, hadn't opened for a coffee morning, and I fancied a coffee. And I noticed on the far corner of the church was an interesting stone. I wanted to go and draw. So I went over and sat down to draw it. But there was two flower ladies chatting nearby. And I couldn't, you shouldn't eavesdrop, should you? I couldn't help but overhear their conversation. And one said to the other, this is verbatim, they were talking about a third absent flower lady who'd been doing things like rearranging other people's flowers that she shouldn't have been doing. And the big flower lady was being told by the small flower lady all this woman's crimes. And finally, the big flower lady spoke. She simply said these words, "Bring her to me and I'll cut her fingers off." Quintessentially English, the brown brick market town, vessels at the foot of the green walls. Some visit on a summer's day, but only those who longer stay uncover the dark secrets the place holds. At the corner of the square there stands an ancient church, early English Gothic with a Norman tower. But if you even do no more than simply pass its door, the air hangs dark and heavy with the power of the flower ladies. The mafia would be cringing, the CIA are whinging, if they knew the horrors in these walls confined. From floral decoration to global domination, but one short step for flower lady kind. No secrets ever slipped out from their meetings in the crypt. Don't ask, don't tell, it's safer for your sake. For if you pry or you enquire, you may find you play with fire. For there are such arrangements they can make, the flower ladies. One day a brand new curate came riding into town. His milk-white steed had pedals and a bell. He saw that congregation as requiring liberation from being bound within an evil spell. So on Sunday from the pulpit he told it like it was. Cometh the man, they say, cometh the hour. But the sermon turned the worm and opened up the can of evil and the dark satanic power of the flower ladies. It was high noon at evensong. You could have heard a petal drop. The curate in the pulpit stayed alone. The congregation melted, the archdeacon resigned, the bishop disconnected all his phones. And as he walked home through the churchyard, a sudden chill breeze blew, and he knew there was a price upon his head. And as he climbed the creaking stair, his heart beat in his throat. And then he wished himself already dead, when he saw upon the bed the freshly severed head of a mesembryanthemum. It was a gift from the flower ladies. In fear and trepidation he spent a sleepless night, a sweating sleepless night. It lasted years. Then in the pallid light of dawn he saw upon the lawn Gladys Bolton with her secateurs. He made it through the back door, she was just one snip behind, and he fled as curtains twitched and people stared. Now he's a prison chaplain down on Dartmoor, where all sweetness and light, that is, compared the flower ladies. Flower ladies. Flower ladies. Flower ladies. Right. Ooh, and next we have a song that mixes medieval history and rather older paleontology. It's about a monument under a carpet now in the choir of Carlisle Cathedral to the 15th century Bishop Bell. It has a depiction on it, which you may have seen if you tuned it a little bit early. I can't really show you it, I don't think, as that's an illustration of it, of what looks very like a pair of brontosauri. You shouldn't get brontosauri in the 15th century. However, it's world famous. It's all over the web because people who believe in a young earth creationists all think this is proof that there really were live dinosaurs in Carlisle in the 15th century, which is an interesting thought. Anyway, that's a song about this. Now Bishop Bell lived in Carlisle in the 15th century. A saintly man, he had just one peculiarity. He had this very strange animal friend, so it came to pass that when he died there on his grave, it was engraved in brass. Bishop Bell had a brontosaurus. Well, what do you make of that? Most people these days will settle for a pet no bigger than a dog or a cat. Bishop Bell had a brontosaurus that I celebrate in song, and he kept it in his cathedral where dinosaurs belong. So behold this brontosaurus. Now scientists all think that by the time of Bishop Bell dinosaurs were extinct. But a brontosaur's a brontosaur, so it does appear that someone somewhere got it wrong. By 60 million years, Bishop Bell had a brontosaurus. Well, what do you make of that? Most people these days will settle for a pet no bigger than a dog or a cat. Bishop Bell had a brontosaurus that I celebrate in song, and he kept it in his cathedral where dinosaurs belong. Fundamentalist believers say all science is up the creek. God created us all from scratch in the space of a literal week. 1,000 species of dinosaur at one and the same time, all stowed away upon that ark. Poor Noah had lost his mind. Now atheists will tell us life's a random roulette game. Evolution the only solution to any problem you may frame. A rational explanation must be highest on the list. So Bishop Bell must have been a very skillful paleontologist. Bishop Bell was a brontosaurus. Now what do you make of that? Most people these days will settle for a pet no bigger than a dog or a cat. Bishop Bell had a brontosaurus that I celebrate in song, in his cathedral where dinosaurs belong. Now I'm sick and tired of arguments. I simply think that when we see before us the Bishop Brontosaurus, should just rejoice in the mystery. So a plague on both your houses and a pox on all your views. I believe in God and dinosaurs, and so good night to you. Another bishop, Bishop Thomas Cantilupe of Hereford. A few years ago, quite a few years ago now, I read an article in a paper that said there'd been a ceremony in Hereford Cathedral. Some newly priested ladies, it was quite new to have women priests then, had done various things. They performed a a circle dance which had upset people for some reason. They'd also gone around, and this interested me, they'd gone around stroking the effigies of the medieval bishops. I looked at who was buried there, and one of these bishops was Bishop Thomas Cantilupe. He was actually Saint Thomas Cantilupe, and you had to have certain claims to be made a saint by the church. And one of his 3 claims was he'd never let a woman touch him. And now he's been stroked. In the cathedral shadows, in the cathedral shadows, Bishop Cantilupe, he slept alone since 1282 when he was carved in stone. He'd always been a pious man, so chaste and celibate, that after 7 centuries now see his fate. Subject to caresses from a band of priestesses, making peace with the past is what they say. But 6 feet beneath the nave, he is spinning in his grave. Peace is the last thing on his mind today. So please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter, for effigies are more than stone and mortar. Your warm and female hands may inflame ancient glands. You'll start them doing things they shouldn't oughter. Please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter. Now ancient priests and bishops, barring the odd mishaps, they had no place for women in their lives. Such was their misogyny, they ne'er bore any progeny, and not being married, neither could their wives. Now they lie in perpetuity, free from all promiscuity, or so they thought, but see what happens now. In 1,000 ancient churches, they cannot escape the clutches of those who still would rob them of their vows. So please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter, for effigies are more than stone and mortar. Your warm and female hands may inflame ancient glands. You'll start them doing things they shouldn't alter. Please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter. It came to pass before too long, during one choral evensong, they heard a creaking and a cracking from the bishop's tomb. Choir boys and clerics, they quite forgot their lyrics as a stone Cantilupe came lurching through the gloom. And likewise priests and friars, abbots, bishops, monks and priors rose brandishing their croziers of stone. A furnace of fury stoked by the shame of being stroked, they drive all women from their ancient home. So please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter, for effigies are more than stone and mortar. Your warm and female hands may inflame ancient glands. You'll start them doing things they shouldn't alter. Please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter. This dire confrontation was replayed across the nation. As 1,000 living dead, the living dead, a shambling heavy-footed tribe, all stony-faced and stony-eyed. The countryside was trembling in their tread, until the Archbishop agreed to restrict all women's powers to making tea and sweeping floors and rearranging flowers, and in every ancient church where such monuments lay, to crochet little notices that hang on the wall and say, please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter, for effigies are more than stone and mortar. Your warm and female hands may inflame ancient glands. You'll start them doing things they shouldn't oughter. Please don't stroke the effigies, my daughter, or if you must, first douse them with cold water. Right, brand new song. You won't have heard this before. It's specially for a friend of mine who lives in South Yorkshire called Jane. And since this COVID thing started a few months ago, she has gone out into the park on every Sunday and played hymn tunes on a trumpet. So it's rather a fine thing to do, and it's attracted some very positive comment. So this is a song called When Jane Plays Trumpet in the Park, and it's brand new. An unread book upon your shelf falls open, a forgotten door within your mind swings wide, a voice frames words that long remained unspoken, an echo from a past that never died. A sound slips in your window, a memory has returned. When Jane plays on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern, when Jane plays on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern. And high above the clouds in realms celestial, in a place that's far beyond all human care, the angel guardians wait just outside heaven's gate. They store their mighty songs of praise and then lay down their harps, incline their ears and say, do I discern? Jane is playing on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern. Jane is playing on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern. Pit that's been requisitioned as an ante-room to hell. Demons here above the song of everlasting love that unmakes and frustrates their purpose fell. They scream as souls slip from their grasp, no longer theirs to burn. For Jane plays on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern. Yes, Jane plays on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern. Still stumbles in the dark. Only one small sound, yet it travels the world round. When Jane plays on the trumpet in the park. When Jane plays on the trumpet in the park. An unread book upon your shelf falls open. Forgotten door within your mind swings wide. Voice frames words that long remained unspoken, an echo from a past that's never died. A sound slips in your window, a memory has returned. Jane is playing on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern. Jane is playing on the trumpet in the park in Waughondern. Right, and one to finish with. This has a drop D, I think. This is again a song with a bit of a story. It's again it's a song about a medieval sepulchral monument which I write quite a few of, based on a grave slab in Bridlington Priory, where I went some years ago. It's a wonderful stone. It's made of black marble, brought from France. It was for a guy important, probably for the man who founded the priory. There's all sorts of symbolic things carved on it, but at the bottom, upside down, is a very fine lion with his mouth wide open. Why this? Then I read an interpretation of it. It was interesting. The idea, it's the lion is Christ as the Lion of Judah, and the person buried under the stone, which has its head end to the west, on the last day when Christ comes again in the east, will sit up, whereupon the lion will stand up facing them. That's why he's upside down. And he's showing his teeth because he's smiling. So he's Christ welcoming them into heaven. So it's a nice thought. And that spawned this song, which I'd love to sing in Bridlington Priory, but I haven't had the chance yet, called Where the Lion Stands. clear day they say you can see for miles. Not many understand. It's when the sky is grey, not blue. Between the clouds you sometimes see right through. Beyond these desert lands, oh, you see right through to where the lion stands. On a frosted night, infinity seems yours to command. But if you seek with all your heart, the stars themselves will somehow move apart, swept by an unseen hand, and you see right through to where the lion stands, infinitely far, beyond the horizons of this world, yet infinitely near, here in the next breath of air that I take, infinitely other, to all I can compass around or comprehend. The wonder, the beauty, the terror and the grace, where the lion stands. So as I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep, and that one morning I may wake in the sunlight of daybreak in that land, where the lion stands, where the lion stands, oh, where the lion stands. Good night, more next week.